catch lions and hunt them down. We used to make jokes about that stuff. We didn't know we came from a beautiful people and a beautiful kingdom because we weren't taught that. But the only thing that's going to show you that is the scriptures that our people come from a mighty people. We come from a beautiful people and a beautiful kingdom. Let's finish that verse.
For it was perfect through my comeliness, which I had put upon thee, saith the Lord.
And what makes us beautiful is not because, the facial cleanser that you're using, the facial scrubs. And what makes us beautiful is the comeliness that the Most High put upon us. That's what makes us beautiful, because the Most High has chosen us. So, because the Most High made us beautiful, the only one that can really acknowledge how beautiful we are is the Most High. The only one that can acknowledge how great we are really is the Most High. These other nations are going to show us how great we are. Even some of our own people aren't going to respect how great we really are. To be able to come out of the world and come into this truth, it's a great thing. Even your own people might not acknowledge it, but guess what? The Most High acknowledges it. So that's what we always have to remember. The Most High knows and He sees these things and why and how we've got into this position, how we've got from the bottom into the top in the spirit, right? And it's only a matter of time where it happens in the flesh too, right? It's only a matter of time where we rise to the top in society. But right now, we're building ourselves up in the spirit. That's the main thing. Once you're doing that, flesh ain't going to acknowledge because it's spiritual. The only thing that's going to acknowledge your spiritual growth is the Most High. He's going to see your spirit's improving. It's going to add on to you, man. All right? So, why are we all here? We're here because we're gathering for the Feast of Purim. All right? Let's go to Esther chapter 9, verse 21. Esther 9, verse 21.
This is Esther chapter 9, verse 21. To establish this among them, that they should keep the 14th day of the month, Adar, and the 15th day of the same year.
So that would be today and tomorrow. Your 14th day, we're in the afternoon, the day of that 14th day. And once sunset hits, we're going to be in that 15th day. So these 2 days ought to be observed yearly. So it wasn't just that year, it was observed that year at that time, but it says observe it yearly. And I've never heard about any Christians observing Purim. Never heard of it. But they'll find Christmas though.
Yeah. Right.
They'll find Easter. I've seen them doing Valentine's Day the other day, man. Talking about, they're trying to make it about the love of God. Right? Valentine's Day it's not about the love of God. Right? It comes from pagan festivals, where they're trying to turn it into what they want to turn it into. You can't turn wickedness and let's get on Job chapter 14 and verse 4. You can't turn wickedness into righteousness. That doesn't make sense. Right? You can't turn fornication into a righteous marriage. Right? No, if it's fornication, it's fornication. Right? You can't turn lie into truth. Right? Job 14 verse 4.
This is Job chapter 14, verse 4. Who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean thing? Not one.
Right? You can't turn pork into beef, man. Right? You could praying over it. It's just like beef now. You can't pray over the pork. It's just like beef now. So you can't turn these pagan festivals into righteousness now. Right? So how we learn about history is through the scriptures. Christianity hasn't taught us our history. Islam hasn't taught us our history. Right? There is our history in it, but it's not from the lens of this is your people though. Right? But when we understand we're Israelite, we understand that this is our history and we want to be keeping these things yearly. Every year we're meant to be observing Purim. Every year we're meant to be understanding why it's important. Right? It's a mighty thing that we all have come to understand it. May not have known about it before. We might be new to this truth. You might have just found out about this truth a few months ago. Right? Some people they only found it. Some people are coming to the truth today. Right? Somewhere around the world, right? Someone is coming into the truth, man. And they haven't heard about Purim. They didn't know what that was. Right? There was a time we didn't know what that was. It was like, what's this? Oh, Purim. I went to church, I never heard about that. Well, that's the issue, you went to church. Alright, that's why you never heard about that. So, let's read on. should be observing Purim. It's in the Bible, right? It's in the Word of God. I don't know what these their excuses in Christianity. They don't keep tabernacles, right? They call themselves Pentecostal, but they don't keep Pentecost. They don't keep new moons, but they were trying to say, oh, we're keeping the Sabbath on Sunday, right? That's our Sabbath on Sunday, right? Where did they get the idea of the Sabbath from? But they're the same people who say Jesus broke the Sabbath anyway, but they're saying Sunday's our Sabbath. So which one is it? Are you doing it or not? You're saying you don't need to do it, but then what are you doing on Sunday then? Why you got a day where you just congregating? Because you know that's a Sabbath. So is it a Sabbath? Did you break it? Are you doing what you're doing? Because it's all confusion. Alright, let's read it.
This is Esther chapter 9 verse 22. As the days wherein the Jews rested from their enemies, and the month which was turned unto them from sorrow to joy.
Exactly. And that's what's mighty about this day. As we're about to go into, it's a day that our sorrow was turned to joy. We had sorrow because we were sold to be destroyed. Right? We were sold out to be destroyed. And that's a sorrowful thing. That's why Esther fasted. Right? Esther fasted 3 days straight because she found out that through Haman, our people were going to be destroyed. Right? We came from being amongst our enemies. We were going to destroy us upon the decree that was sent out, and we had rest from there. We were not persecuted at that time. So it was just a glimpse of what the kingdom's going to be like. We got to feel it for a little bit. The Most High gave us that. Why? Because we became very low in repentance and mourning and fasting. The Most High had mercy upon us. So look, I'm going to show you what joy looks like because you're willing to suffer. Right? You're willing to humble yourself. So I'm going to show you what abundance looks like. And the Most High blessed us, man. That's what's mighty about this day. And then that blessing and abundance, let's read on.
From sorrow to joy, and from mourning into a good day, that they should make them days of feasting and joy, and of sending portions one to another and gifts to the poor.
Right, this is a day of feasting and joy. Right, so today and tomorrow, right, the 14th and 15th day of this month is going to be a day of feasting and joy. It's not going to be a day of, I'm hungry. No one should ever on these days be saying I'm hungry. Right? If you're saying you're hungry, drop everything and go and eat. Right? It's not time for that. It's not time to be hungry today. It's not time to be, I'm feeling down today. I'm feeling bad. Hey, no, man. Gather together. Right? Do what it takes, man, to be in a spirit of joy and in a spirit of feasting on these days, because these are great days that we wanna commemorate. That we wanna bring to the mind again of our forefathers. As the world, commemorates, Remembrance Day. They have their Remembrance Days, where they remember World War I and World War II. Right. They have their Armistice Days. They have that. They don't have days to remember us. They don't have a day to remember what we did to those slaves, man. Why do we do that? And they'd have to be doing that all year round, really. Right? What day could they pick? That off 1492 day or 1619 day on February the 22nd. They don't have that day, but just come around and they just think about what they did to black people. They don't have that day. So it's up to us, man. We have to start and show and be the example. Look, we are having days where we are thinking about what has been done to our forefathers and the might that the Most High put upon us, the glory that the Most High bestowed us with, to be able to combat all of those wicked decrees that will come upon us. Right. So let's go to Esther chapter 2, start verse 5. Right, because some people may not know too much about Purim. Maybe a new thing. Right? Maybe confusing. Maybe what's this about? How did we get here? Who's Esther? Is she a queen? What is she, the queen of Israel? What's going on here? Right, Most High willing, be able to go through.
This is Esther chapter 2, verse 5. Now in Shushan, the palace Now in Shushan, the palace, there was a certain Jew whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jair.
Right, so it says in Shushan, the palace. So Shushan, right, you don't know what that is?
China.
You say China? It kind of does sound Chinese, huh? Like Beijing, one of them, like Shanghai or something. We're going to Shanghai, maybe. No, it's not that kind of Shanghai. But Shushan, let's go to Esther chapter 1, verse 2. Shushan is in Iran. Let's get that.
Esther 1, verse 2. That in those days, when the king Ahasuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan, the palace.
Right, so in his kingdom, what's that kingdom? The Persian and Median Empire. Right, that was his kingdom at the time. Right, and he sat on his throne in the palace. He had a palace in Shushan. Right, and today that would be Susa. Right, I'm gonna look that up. Right, so Susa is a province in the Persian Empire. Right, so in the Persian Empire you had 4 capitals. Right, Susa, Persepolis, one other one that is a struggle to pronounce, and Babylon. So you had these 4 places which were the capitals of the Persian Empire, and one of those you have Ahasuerus, who's actually Xerxes the First, and that's where you may have seen the movie 300. Right, in the movie 300, you see Xerxes the First, or their depiction of Xerxes the First. This is that same Ahasuerus is that same Xerxes the First that you see in those movies. So this is historical, man. Right, they're making movies about it. Right, and Xerxes will go to war against all the nations that were coming against him. So you had the Spartans and you had the Greeks. They were both coming against the Persian Empire, right? So let's read on. I'm going to be able to get that source right now. Esther 2, verse 5.
Esther 2, that's right on top. It's Esther chapter 2, verse 5. Now in Shushan, the palace, there was a certain Jew whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, a Benjamite.
So this is a history about the Benjamites. That's what's specific pointed out about who Mordecai is. He's a Benjamite, right? This is Benjamite history. This is what the Benjamites were doing, man, right? Mighty things. So we're going to read about Mordecai, as Purim is also referred to as Mordecai's Day, right? This is something that he did, especially, right, to increase the prosperity and protection of the Israelites. Let's go to verse 7.
Verse 7. And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother, and the maid was fair and beautiful, whom Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took for his own daughter.
Oh, there. So going back to Susa. Right. to basically summarize it. So, in the portion of Susa, in the history section of Susa, after the Achaemenid Persian conquest, in the first paragraph, in the last sentence, in the last line, it says, Babylonian cities to be brought into the capital, suggesting that the conflict over Susa had begun possibly in the winter of 540 BC. It's probable that Cyrus negotiated with the Babylonian generals to compromise on their part and therefore avoid an armed confrontation. So when the Persians came into power, they had to take over the Medians, and Susa is in the Median region, right, of the Persian and Median Empire. Right, let's get that Daniel chapter 8. Let's get that Daniel chapter 8. Let's get Daniel chapter 8. We'll start at verse 3.
Daniel chapter 8, verse 3. Then I lifted up mine eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram, which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last.
So it's a vision of a ram with 2 horns, right? One was high, and the other was higher, right? And the higher came up last. So let's go to verse 20. This literally just explains what those are.
Verse 20. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up,
Verse 20. 8, verse 20.
the ram which thou sawest having 2 horns are the kings of Media and Persia.
So those are the 2 horns, Media and Persia. So that's what in the vision, just like Peter had a vision, and he had a vision of what? Beasts. And those beasts represent something in the scriptures, right? In this case, beasts are the kingdoms, and it's going into Media and Persia, the Persian Empire. Is also what it's called, the Achaemenid Empire is also what it's called. And like I said, you see that in movies. One that stands out that a lot of people are familiar with is 300, and you see the Persian Empire right there. Right, so the Median Empire is the one that came up first and was shorter, and the Persian Empire was the one that came up last and was higher. So those are the 2 horns. 2 horns are what? Strength. They're the strength of what keeps the beast going. That's where it could go into war and what you see at the forefront. So the Median Empire came up first, and the Persian Empire through Cyrus the Great came up second and became the leader and pioneer of the empire itself. So that's why we refer to it as the Persian Empire, not the Median Empire. Median was part of it, and then in one of their provinces in Susa, you had them make a palace there, and then that's where it was at, right? So when the time of Esther, right, she's living at the time of Xerxes the First in the Persian Empire in Susa, right? Who already and the Persians have already taken down the Medians, and the Medians are ones who've taken down Babylon the Great before them, right? So might be a lot, but you get it. The more you repeat, you get it, right? So I always go into that same history of the kingdoms, right? Babylon, Persian and Median Empire, then Greeks, then the Romans. Knowing that, you kind of be able to place the prophecy, place the history in its rightful place to actually know what's going on here and why it's even happening, right? Why Esther is not, why she's because in Christianity they say that Esther is a queen, but if they're thinking of her being a queen of Israel, she's not a queen of Israel, right? She's mighty, and her real name's not even Esther. Let's get Esther chapter 2 and verse 7. Her real name is not even Esther, right? Esther is a Persian name, just like you've got the name Ishtar, right? So it's not her name, right? It's a Persian name.
Esther 2, verse 7. And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther.
Right. So trying to tell you this is her real name. Her real name is Hadassah, right? And then that's actually a Hebrew name, right? Beulah. Hadassah is a Hebrew name. That's a real name. That's a name that she was birthed with. But when she, when you get colonized and when, these heathen try and name you, you take on their names, just like a lot of our forefathers. They did that to the kings that came into Babylon. They gave them Babylonian names. They did that to Daniel. They gave him a Babylonian name. So Hadassah, it means myrtle in the Hebrew. Right? So this is Esther in the Beulah. Right? And it says star. Right? Her name means star. It says the Queen of Persia, heroine of the book of Esther. Right? So this says of Persian derivation. So that's a Persian name that was given unto her. So it's really the book of Hadassah, right? Not really the book of Esther, because her name really is Hadassah, right? This is it.
Jerome's age 1919. Hadassah.
Right? Which means myrtle, which is a particular tree, and it's a nice tree, right? That people would use, right? We were using that at tabernacles, man. Right? Nehemiah was using that at tabernacles to make his tent. So we have Esther or Hadassah, right? Let's read verse 7 one time.
And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter.
Right, so they're cousins. Esther and Mordecai are cousins, right?
For she had neither father nor mother, and the maid was fair and beautiful.
And she didn't have a father or mother. Does that mean, she was just like Yahweh Shai, she had a virgin birth? No, man. Right?
Who Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took.
Right, they died. That's what it means that she had no father or mother. So, today we call that an orphan. Right? She was an orphan, fatherless. And Mordecai took on, so I can finish that one.
Who Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took for his own daughter.
Mordecai took Esther or Hadassah for his own daughter, right? And that's his cousin. It wasn't like his niece or his stepdaughter or this is his cousin, man. But he still looked after his cousin, right? And that's mighty. Let's go to James chapter 1 verse 27. He still looked after his cousin. And that's the keeping of the Lord.
This is James chapter 1 verse 27. Your religion and undefiled before Yahweh and the Father is this, to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction, and to keep himself unspotted from the world.
Right, so in captivity, it's important we visit the fatherless and the afflicted and the poor. That's the keeping of the law. That's what the tithes is for, actually, that the pastors are stealing. The tithes is actually for the widows, right? It's for the fatherless, and it's for the poor, as well as the Levites, right? You'll go to the Levites as well as the poor, as well as the afflicted, right? That's not what they're saying that you're giving the tithes in the church for, right? You're giving it so they can get those big buildings, man, right? So, and they're afflicting the same poor. The poor are coming in and the poor are giving all of their money in, man, right? Thinking that they're going to get a blessing from that, right? They were doing card transactions. They're coming around with a card machine, right? They're looking at you in the eyes. Try to get particularly like young people around, trying to get the young people to give their pocket money, man, right? Parents are giving their children pocket money to get themselves lunch, and these kids are thinking they're so righteous, and they're not even getting themselves lunch, man. They're giving it, You're giving it for tithes, thinking, yeah, this is it. Nah, man, get your chicken and chips, man. Buy something, man. All right, just get be a malnourishment. Right, so let's go to Sirach chapter 4 and verse 10 as well. All right, and this is what Purim is about. Purim is about giving portions. Purim is about giving portions and gifts unto the poor. That's what Purim is about. Right? So that's why we're doing that. That's what Mordecai was doing. Mordecai saw the afflicted and looked after his cousin, looked after his family that had no father, no mother.
In the book of Sirach, chapter 4, verse 10. Be as a father unto the fatherless, and instead of an husband unto their mother, so shalt thou be as the son of the Most High, and he shall love thee more than thy mother doth.
Right? Be as a father unto the fatherless. Right? That's what we should be doing, and that's what Mordecai did. He was a father unto the fatherless. Right? A lot of our people are fatherless. Right? A lot of people, their dad's not around, and we have to look after them, man. You can't just be, just you gotta be compassionate upon them. If you're not compassionate upon the fatherless, you don't really understand what it means to be in this truth.
Right.
That's exactly what it means to be in this truth. To see the fatherless and have compassion upon them, right? Not to just shout at them, right? Because they don't know why they haven't received love from a fatherly figure, man, right? And a lot of daughters of Israel haven't received love from a fatherly figure. So likewise, because they haven't got that higher type of direction, right? They're seeking that from the things around them, man. Right? And they say you end up in the world and on the roads. Yeah, doing things you shouldn't be doing. Right? Let's go to Sirach chapter 30 and verse 3. Right? He took Hadassah, which is Esther, for his own daughter. And that's a heavy load. Not a lot of men are taking in other women, even if it's their family, for their own daughter. Right? Let's be real, not a lot of people are doing that. So you have to understand the mind, and the humility that Mordecai was in, and how his mind was righteous to be able to do that. Not everyone's doing that. A lot of people say, nah, I don't know. Find someplace else, or stay with someone else, or I'll find an orphanage for you to stay. Right? I'll find maybe some foster care for you. I'll help you out. But Mordecai, he wasn't applying her for foster care. Right? He took her up for his own daughter. Right? So he's a mighty man we're dealing with already. And this is before anything's even happened yet. He's already mighty. So that's the type, if he's raising up Esther for a daughter, she's gonna be mighty. Because she's raised by a man that is not her father, but a fatherly figure.
This is Sirach chapter 30, verse 3. He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy, and before his friends he shall rejoice of him.
So that's son and daughter. So if you teach your child, if you teach your son, teach your daughter, you're going to grieve the enemy.